Good evening, and welcome back to Trial Watch with Demetra, where we watch the trials that's been in the news and some smaller trials. Oh, good, Shanny, pretty out, Shanny. Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box. Hey, and Renee, welcome back. And Renee, right. And Renee, say hey. Girl, he right here because I got my dinner right here. I'm gonna eat while we listening. So you best believe he right here. All eyes on me. My flower, you are back on time. Living Kurt Bixon. Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box, you guys. Hey, Miss Sansafran. Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box, baby. Y'all are on time up in here tonight. It is gonna be a great night of testimony. Good evening, Tiki. Ooh, y'all on time. Tonight, y'all know we're watching the state of Tennessee versus Finnegan. This is the sex torture trial, whereas it was two co-conspirators, but right now it's only one on trial. That's Sean Finnegan. Okay, Rebecca Dishman to the left there. She has already already pled guilty to first-degree murder, and she turned state witness. By doing so, she was able to avoid the death sentence. We just came off of the last couple of nights of watching her testimony. We heard Rebecca give details about what happened to the victim in this case, Jennifer Paxton. Jennifer Paxton was 36. Ooh, many kids. She was also homeless, drug addicted, alcoholic, and everything that came with that lifestyle. The two violators in this case kidnapped her, lured her in with the promise, of eating, being able to take a shower, whereas they kept her, tortured her, handcuffed her, sexually and physically tortured her, then unalived her. They put her body, which stayed in a deep freezer for over 8 months. Rebecca Dishman and the defendant, Sean Finnegan, was in a consensual relationship, a BDSM relationship. And Rebecca claims that it got a little bit out of hand. So we have where we left off with Rebecca's testimony and cross-examination. We heard Rebecca mention many times her neighbors, Mahogany. It was the neighbor Mahogany who, after 8 months or more time than that, but Rebecca living there with Sean, the defendant, thought that or was under the impression that Rebecca was a victim herself and tried to get her to leave from that relationship by way of a domestic violence shelter. So they set that up. Rebecca packed up her things, left with her neighbor Mahogany, was supposed to be getting with a domestic violence shelter counselor and starting a new life. Hey, Jill, you right on time. That didn't work out. The representative from the domestic violence shelter didn't show up. So at this point, Rebecca then packed up her stuff. Her mother-in-law in the house. We found out that the mother-in-law, Miss Francis, not Francis, I think her name was Francis. She a tattletale. She tells her son everything. So Rebecca knows she can't go back home. What is she to do? Well, she tells the neighbor, Mahogany, well, I can't go back home. It's a little bit more to this story. There's a dead body in our bedroom closet in the freezer. And the neighbor, rightfully so, calls the police. And now we have this trial. So I say all that to bring you guys up to date. Tonight, we will hear the testimony from, I think, first Mahogany's husband and then Mahogany. Now, I know a couple of the Lit Lane Jury Box jurors are very astute. Okay, Living, no problem. And I saw like maybe the first or second time they said Mahogany's name. I think it was Tiki. It might have been somebody else was like, I bet you anything Mahogany is black. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Spoiler, I'm not giving no spoilers. So this is going to be good. Even if you hadn't tuned in for any testimony and it's a brand new case to you, tonight is some testimony that you can kind of jump right in on, okay? We do have a playlist that's running with all of these episodes. It's called Trial Watch with Demetra. Each of the episodes is labeled, okay? All right, so let's get ready to get started. Please hit the like. But first, before Mahogany and her husband, it's about 10-15 minutes testimony from one of the neighbors. We're going to watch that real quick, and that will end the day one. We just now with this witness here. It's going to be the end of actual court day one, but we've been doing it for a week now. Let's see. Present. Tiki said, nah, that's a black ass name. Oh, and shout out to the folks over who may be finding this channel over on Trial Watch with Demetra. The chat is actually happening here on my other channel, demetralitALLday. We will be officially relaunching Trial Watch with Demetra, where this live will be taking place solely over there in January 2025. If you look on the About tab, you will see the link to this channel. So, anywho, let me cancel that. Let me present. One moment. Okay, let me close. I'll keep close. Okay, video file. Hey, Betty Boop. Good evening. Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box. Betty Boop should be all caught up with this trial. Because I know I saw you throughout the weekend replaying, going through the playlist. So you should be all ready to go. Now, where is this other... Now, I saw, when I opened this up, I actually saw, that's okay, I can do it right now.
Oak Ridge, right, how would we get to Fairview Avenue?
The first neighbors,
or
let me
drive.
see.
Is it
okay,
Avenue or Drive, did you say?
Avenue, I'm sorry.
Okay. How would we get to Fairview Avenue?
You would go down the turnpike and turn by the dollar store.
Okay. Is that the Dollar House? And we head into Oak Ridge. How would we get to Fairview Avenue? Or Drive? Is it Avenue or Drive? Did you say?
Avenue. I'm sorry.
Okay. How would we get to Fairview Avenue?
You would go down the turnpike.
I must have cut off something. My bad.
The dollar store.
Okay. Is that the Dollar General?
The Dollar General. Yes.
Okay. Do you know the name of that road that you turn on there?
Hey, Lady T, we just started the testimony.
Florida Avenue sounds familiar. It's been a while,
Florida,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you take a right on Florida Avenue, how do you get to your place that you lived at on Fairview?
You would turn right onto Fairview.
Okay. So right on Florida, right on Fairview. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the type of place you lived in, could you describe for the jurors what type of building it was?
It was like a townhouse. There was 4 units. Mine was on the very end, and Sean's was right next to me.
It was a fourplex,
yes,
so to speak?
Yes.
Do you know what a Semesto house is?
No.
You don't know what a different plans of Semesto houses in Oak Ridge are?
No.
Okay. But that fourplex that you're in, you see them all over Oak Ridge, right?
Right.
Okay. And in fact, when you turn onto Fairview, there's another fourplex on the corner of Florida and Fairview, right?
Right.
And you're not that one on the corner, but which one are you from there?
The next one.
Okay. And your particular apartment is the fourplex is running perpendicular with the street, right?
Right.
All right. May I approach, Your Honor? What's my next exhibit number? 10. Ms. Coons, I'm handing you what's been marked for identification as exhibit number 10, and you've probably seen that kind of image before, right? Mm-hmm. And what are we looking at?
That's a 5-head.
It's the street view of where I lived. The street view of where I lived.
Okay. Google overhead
Google Maps,
image, a
yeah.
Google map image. Okay. And do you recognize the cross streets that you just testified to the jury about Fairview in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recognize which apartment was yours versus which in this particular exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. And you see your apartment there?
Yes.
And if I can have you circle with red ink your apartment in exhibit number 10. Okay. And put in there, if you want to put a KC or KNC, and go ahead and sign it, Kelsey Coons, and today's date. Okay. And do you know Cole?
Okay, y'all, just to let y'all know, I kind of break in a lot, but I'm eating my dinner. Okay, so I'm gonna let her play out.
And Mahogany Pico?
I know of them.
Did you know where they lived in relation to your apartment?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you a black pen.
Welcome to the Liz Ain't Jury Box, Captain Smith. Welcome back. She's definitely ahead of the game. Welcome to the Liz
I'm
Ain't
going to
Jury
give you a
Box.
black pen, and I'm going to have you circle and put CP and MP inside the circle over their apartment.
It's not right.
Guess we left this out too long. We have another color.
This is the first of the neighbors to testify.
Well, we're just going to do it all in red, I guess, and then we'll just do
state
different initials inside the circles. Right now, there's one red circle on there with a KC inside it. That's you, Kelsey Coons, right?
Yeah.
And you've autographed and dated it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to have you circle where Mahogany Pico and Colt Pico lived, and put a CPM/MP in there. And finally, I want you to circle, and you had another neighbor named Sean Finnegan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see him here in the courtroom?
Yes.
Where is he?
He's sitting right over there.
Record reflects you pointing to the defendant, Sean Finnegan. You did. Where did your neighbor Sean Finnegan live?
He lived right beside me.
Okay, circle that and put an SF in it. And do you know who else he lived there with?
Becca and his mom.
Do you know Becca's name?
Rebecca Dishman.
So if you put inside the circle SF RD, and we're going to move this in as the physical locations judge for Exhibit 10 of the different apartments.
You just tardy.
I'll send it to each other, and if I can put that up while she's explaining the exhibit.
I like the woman prosecutor better. The man prosecutor, he's slow.
And so you just made mark notations on exhibit number 10. Could I have her stand down just so she can use this to just indicate to the jury what your mark on the paper exhibit? Kelsey, tell the members of the jury, where is Fairview and Florida? Which fourplex did you live in this picture?
This one.
Okay. And your unit was actually on the street side, on Fairview side, the far end. So there's three other tenants as this exhibit goes north, right? And with regard to the Picos, where do they live? Okay. And is there a difference in these units? It appears there's wings on the end and a main part in the center.
The ends are just single, and the middle is 2 bedroom.
Welcome back to the Little Age.
Okay. So as we look at the exhibit, both on the ends are one.
Nobody late tonight because we off schedule. Nobody late. Nobody tardy. Everybody get a holiday pass this week, okay? All right. I'm listening, but I'm listening from the phone because I got to go warm up some more food. That wasn't enough. Hey, the Beep Sector Podcast. Welcome back to the Little Age Jury Box. This is the first neighbor to testify. This is not Mahogany and them, but this is the neighbor that lived in the same side of them. No, I think she lived in a unit behind them. Okay, we'll see. Hold
on. 1 bedroom units, and there's two bedroom units in the middle, and then on the far side, another 1 bedroom unit. Right. And you lived in that 1 bedroom unit on the end, right? And who lived right next door to you?
Sean.
Okay, so you shared an adjoining wall with Sean Finnegan and Rebecca Dishman, right? Okay. How long did you
Damn, did it pause? Oh, I paused it right here. Okay, hold on. It'll start back. I did that. Damn, did it pause? Oh, I paused it right here. Hold on, hold on. It'll start back. I did that. Oh, Lord. Damn, did it pause? Hold on. Yeah, I think because I had paused it when I was recording it. Child. I told y'all I had a rough day today up in here. Child. I ain't even sweat back up. Y'all gonna have to just let me make it on that one. Okay? And I'll get it corrected and I'll play it again. Cause I don't know what happened with that. Let me see. Okay. We're gonna get the other part not messed up. Hold on. I don't know what happened with that, but we're gonna move right along and I'll bring it back around. Her testimony was only like 15 minutes, but I'll still bring it back around and more. Or when we finish these other people's testimony. All right, hold on, let's see. She was born anyway. All right, this is the meat and potatoes.
Apartment to your apartment.
Yes.
And you also know the floor plan or layout of their apartment and your apartment.
Yes.
Okay. And so
Well, actually, I think this is the next day because she was the last witness on the first day. It was only about 10, 15 minutes. And then she was the first witness on the second day of the trial. So here we go.
So in terms of shared wall space, what rooms share the wall space in between that separate your apartment from their apartment? What is the room on the other side?
My living room, it would have been his living room on the other side, and upstairs would have been his bedroom, the main bed, the master bedroom.
Okay.
My kitchen, the other side of my kitchen would have been his kitchen, and above that would have been the other room.
Okay, so both your kitchen share a wall and your living room share a wall.
Yes.
When you say that there's a master bedroom above your living room, his master bedroom, you're talking about Finnegan's apartment.
Yes.
Is there a second bedroom in that?
Yes.
And where is that above?
Directly across from his bedroom.
Okay. Is that above the kitchen?
Above the kitchen, yes.
Okay. And so, with regard to that, I also see that there's maybe a chimney sticking up out of there in between the two apartments.
Yeah.
Good evening to you, welcome back to
tell
the Jury
tell
Box.
the jury about that.
That would have been in between mine and his living rooms.
Okay. Do you have a fireplace in yours?
We did.
Okay. And on the other side, it would share that chimney, a fireplace on the other side?
I imagine so.
Okay. I'm going to now show you what have been marked for identification as Exhibit number 3. I'm sorry, these are actually in evidence, Exhibit 3 and Exhibit 5. Take a look at those if you would. Back in August actually August 5th, did you become aware that something had happened next door to you in that apartment that we're talking about, that Sean Finnegan was in?
Yes, when I seen it on the news.
Okay. That's how you learned of it?
Yes.
Were you there when things happened, when the police came and
No.
came into the residence?
No.
What were the circumstances of you not being there?
I had actually stayed at either my mother's or my grandmother's house that night.
Okay. So,
And when I came back the next day and was looking on my phone was when I seen everything. I was like, oh my gosh.
Just speak up in the microphone a little bit, please.
yeah, I'm kind of standing to her right. Let me move back and all.
I had stayed at my mother's or my grandmother's house. They lived side by side, so I can't remember which one I stayed at.
But not in Oak Ridge?
Not in Oak Ridge.
Okay.
When I had come back home the next day is when I had seen everything on the news app on my phone.
Okay. And it made a lot of attention in the news?
Yeah.
And there were victims, or rather pictures. Were there pictures in social media?
1 second. He objects, let me rule. I'll sustain. Next question.
Did you see photographs of the victim?
Yes.
Do you recognize the victim from exhibits number 3 or 5? Do you know this person?
I don't know her, but I know of her from seeing it on the news.
Okay. Did you ever see this person at the apartment?
No.
Or the apartment complex?
No.
Okay. So that was a surprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
let me pause it right here. So this trial obviously was made publicized or streamed, right? So I'm pretty sure the people in the 1,000 people at the Lauren Crime or Court TV, I'm pretty sure they was dragging her forehead too. Cause and I wonder if she went home that night and she had to hear everybody talk about her forehead, and all she did was try to go give her witness testimony. Boy, it ain't easy being cheesy or a good Samaritan. Let's continue.
But prior to you finding out through social media, you had already told the jury that you'd had a couple of different interactions with the occupants next door, Mr. Finnegan and Miss Dishman.
Yes.
And how many times would you say you had interactions with Rebecca Dishman?
Just a handful.
And Betty
of
Boop
times,
come in, drop down, talk about
not a
cinema
lot.
head. See what I'm talking about?
Okay. And you described her yesterday for the jury.
Yeah, she seemed
All sustained.
she seemed like a
Go
sweet.
ahead. No, man, you stop. He's going to ask you another question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What did you describe her for the jury as yesterday?
As she was a sweet girl.
Okay.
She seemed kind of slower and, nervous, real nervous. I don't know.
And did you have a conversation with her in the couple of weeks before you discovered that something had happened next door?
Yes.
Tell the jury the circumstances under which that conversation occurred. First off, where did it occur?
On my front porch.
Okay. And who was present for the conversation?
Me and Rebecca.
And anybody else within earshot?
No.
And what did that conversation tell the members of the jury? What was that conversation?
She was just talking about how she was scared of Sean, was scared that he was going to kill her. She wanted to use my phone to make a fake Facebook profile to try and find a ride to get away from him.
How did you react to that?
I let her make a fake Facebook profile on my phone, and
So you physically gave her your phone?
yes,
And you're a Facebook user?
I was, yeah.
So you had the app already on your phone?
Yes.
And explain that if you would. You just create a different person on the phone?
Actually, no, I take that back. I haven't had the Facebook app on my phone in a while. I let her do it through Chrome.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Explain that for us if you would. You let her do what through Chrome?
Go to Facebook and make a Facebook.
Okay. So she accessed essentially through the internet?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what the name of the profile she created?
Luna Dishman.
Okay. And what was her stated purpose for creating that profile?
To try and find a ride to get out.
I'll overrule based on our previous rule.
What was her stated reason for creating that profile?
Because she wanted to try and find a ride to get away from Sean.
And did you believe her?
I did. I kind of thought she was exaggerating a little bit on the she was afraid he was going to kill her part, but after seeing everything I did, I don't think she was exaggerating at all.
Okay.
I didn't really hear that. Yeah, say that again.
I said at first I thought she was exaggerating a little bit on she was scared he was going to kill her, but after seeing everything on the news, I don't think she was
I'll
exaggerating.
sustain that. Disregard what you saw in the news. Go ahead.
Do you regret your actions at all and how you reacted to her statement to you?
Objection, Judge, I'm not sure the relevance.
Sustain.
Exactly. She could have got the neighbors to call.
Did you notify the police?
She was very complicit. Rebecca,
Because
not
it
this
wasn't
lady.
my business.
But the police eventually came to you, is that right?
Yes.
After things came into the news and the media that something had happened next door, right?
Yes.
That's a foundation, Judge. And it's not suggesting a response.
The way this works is, he makes an objection, I'll ask you for a response if I want one, okay? I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead. You can answer, or I guess you already answered. So next question.
was there something that the police came to your residence and talked to you about the case, right?
Yes.
And you, in fact, did you give a statement to police?
I told them that I had heard the beating and banging on the walls.
Okay. And let's go ahead and talk about that. What were the police there asking you about?
Just if I had seen Jennifer or seen anything, just the basic questions.
Okay. And with regard to your interaction with the neighbors, you've already told us individually, was there anything unusual that had happened over there at the apartment while you were living there?
I mean, like with...
That you conveyed to the police?
Just the beating and banging on the walls.
Okay. We'll get to that. Had there ever been anything other, when we're talking about this, the beating and the banging, what was it that you were alerting the police to?
That was it.
Okay. And let's describe it. When did this occur?
Just a day or two after. When did what occur? I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm being confusing. I get that. I'm sorry.
Child,
Shortly
she get lost
after,
in her thoughts, I guess.
you learned in the media that something had happened next door. The police came and asked you about activity next door, right?
Yes.
Okay. And in response to their questions, you provided a statement.
Yes.
And you told them the truth about what things that had happened over there, right?
Yes.
And you told them about the incident between Rebecca?
Yes.
Okay. But you also told them about another incident that occurred prior in the past while they were neighbors.
Completely leaving now.
It's laying the foundation for what she's
Still leading, suggesting an answer.
How is he leading the witness when he talking about him referring to what she made in a police statement? Maybe he need to give her a copy of the police statement. He need to say, like I be seeing him say, if I gave you a copy of your statement to the police, would that refresh your memory? See, I be watching my stuff. Lady T said she probably thinking, I can't believe this shit.
I'll overrule. Go ahead.
You also told them about an incident that occurred in the past that alerted you or alarmed you about something that went on over at the apartment next door.
Yes.
Okay, let's get specific about that. What happened that caused you to tell the police about that incident? What was it that first alarmed you? First starting with, what time of year was it?
It was around Christmas.
Okay, and how do you know it was around Christmas?
Because my Christmas tree was still up.
All right, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday in terms of your habits and your customs and whatnot. You put your Christmas tree up when?
Right after Thanksgiving.
Okay, and you take it down usually?
About a week or two into January.
Okay, so we're talking about that time frame is when this occurred?
Yes.
And over what time period did what we're talking about occur? Days, weeks?
Objection asked and answered.
I'll overrule, but let's just let her tell the story.
It happened.
Rephrase your question. Tell us what happened.
Go ahead and tell us what made you concerned about what was going on next door.
Well, I heard what sounded like a fight next door originating in the living room. We heard beating and banging,
What specifically did you hear?
like just a bunch of commotion, like stuff
Welcome to
being
the
slung
lady
around.
about
I
stuff
mean,
and stuff.
just
Thank you
like
for joining us.
a fight going on.
Okay. In which room of the house?
The living room,
Okay.
right behind my fireplace.
And how long did that go on, the beating and the banging and the commotion?
I can't say for sure. I mean, for a little while.
And do you recall what time of the day it was?
I don't know exactly for sure the time of day, but
Nitra.
I want to say around anywhere between 11 and 1
Okay.
p.m.
And does your baby at the time, did he or she, is it he or
She.
she? Did she sleep at any particular time?
Yeah, she took a nap early in the morning, then she took a nap usually around 11, 12.
Okay. And did this commotion cause you concern about that in any way?
She was sleeping at the time that it was going on, so I just didn't want her to get woke up.
Okay. And so the commotion that you're hearing about, the beating and banging, that's right in the living room. What happens after that?
Then I heard it move to the kitchen just very briefly, and then it moved right back to the living room. And
Okay.
then not long excuse me, not long after that, it got silent for a few minutes, and then just a short time passed, and I heard a little bit more commotion upstairs in the bedroom, the main master bedroom.
Lou,
And
How did you know that?
what do you mean?
How'd you know it was a master bedroom versus, you knew it was upstairs, how did you know it was one versus the other?
Because I lived in a building just like that, so I know the layout of the room,
Okay.
of the building.
And so you're told the jury you hear it in the master bedroom, then what happens next?
After I heard the commotion for a minute, it wasn't long until I was hearing like a bed hitting the wall, like someone having sex.
Okay. And is that what
Damn.
you interpreted it as?
you know, this neighbor heard everything. So if this neighbor who lived in the apartment behind this heard everything from downstairs to the upstairs to the bed rocking and rolling, y'all know Miss Francis, the defendant mama, had to have heard everything. She had to have had. She wasn't deaf. Just a thought. Just a thought. Let's continue. Welcome everybody back to the Little Lady Jury Box. Please hit the like and thank y'all for joining and supporting this content.
Yes.
And how long did that go on?
That went on for a little while, and then over the next 3 or 4 days, it was various times of the day that I would hear the bed hitting the wall. I can't tell you exact times, I don't know.
Okay, and as a result of that, how many days would you say it lasted?
About 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
Welcome,
From the
Jonathan.
beginning of when you first heard commotion in the living room to the end was 3 or 4 days?
Yes, Nat.
Okay. Did you consider, or what was your intent on doing with regard to the noise? How were you going to respond?
I mean, I wasn't.
What did you consider doing?
I considered walking over there and telling them to stop.
I'll sustain. It's not relevant what you consider to do. So next
Well-
question.
Were the police ever involved?
No,
Why not?
I never called.
Because why?
I never called the cops.
Why not?
It wasn't my business.
Okay. What did you conclude?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but my nails take too long. I can't be. I'd rather type the comments in and let it go. So I might, if I see y'all comment, because I can't just type comfortably, I might put a star by it and come back to it. But I see the questions. I see that I think it was T. Lady T say, "Is the mama Francis an invalid?" No, because she wasn't. She might not have been fully mobile, but she was not an invalid, because we heard from the testimony from Rebecca saying that the first night that they brought the victim to the house and he was beating the victim over the head, the defendant sent Rebecca upstairs to divert his mama, Miss Francis, because she was heading down the stairs. So that's when we learned that she was the mother was not bedridden, and she had to be somewhat ambulatory. Okay, that's my $5 word of the night. Okay, so let's continue.
Conclude was happening over there in the living room?
What did you say?
What did you conclude was happening over there, based on all the different types of noises you were hearing?
I'll sustain the objection. Speculation.
Do you know whether or not Mr. Finnegan was home at that time?
Joy.
I don't know.
Do you know whether or not Miss Dishman was home at that time?
Probably she was always at home.
Okay.
Next, sir. Question?
Yes, please. So the first time you talked to the police was after the commotion at the house, as far as they were arrested?
Yeah,
Properly.
after they were arrested was when I had talked to the police.
Okay, and you'd seen some stuff on TV
Yes.
about it? Okay. Did the DA prep you for your testimony today? Prepare you?
Yes.
The DA prepared you for your testimony today?
I talked to them, yes.
Yesterday?
No.
A while back?
Yeah.
Okay. Because when you talked to the police, you didn't tell them any of those details about living room or kitchen or any of that stuff, did you?
No.
Okay. In fact, what you said was that you heard some noise, like
Yes.
banging on the walls.
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't say anything about a bed hitting a wall. You didn't say anything about anybody moving from rooms. You didn't say anything about a pause.
I didn't go into straight detail on what I had said, but I did mention the bed hitting the wall, yes.
Okay. And if you had believed that there had been a murder there, you would have called the police,
Probably, yes.
but you didn't call the police.
Probably.
Because I thought that it was just Sean and Rebecca having a dispute. Wasn't my business.
That happened before, huh?
That never happened before. I never heard any kind of noise like that before.
So you just assumed that they were having a dispute and banging the wall for hours?
I guess.
Okay. But you don't know if Sean was even there, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. And then earlier you testified that your shift was, 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. at that time?
I was off the day that this happened.
You were off the days this happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you recall at what time of day it was now? Because you didn't tell the police then.
They didn't ask.
Okay.
I wrote a statement and that was it.
The police didn't ask you what time of day it happened?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did the police didn't ask you whether Sean was there or not back then?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, you remember a lot of details now.
I've always known the details.
You just didn't feel like telling the police back then?
I didn't think I had to go into great detail on my statement.
Even though a murder took
I told
place?
I told the basics of what I heard.
Okay. And they didn't ask you any further? They didn't push you for any detail?
No.
For a murder that happened next door to you, they didn't push you for any detail?
No.
No.
Not that I remember.
Okay. And so now you remember all those details and you're saying them, right?
I've always known the details of what I've heard.
Okay. But this is the first time you're saying them in front of people, correct?
Yes. In front of these people, yes.
You didn't tell the police?
No.
You also talked about your relationship with them, and you didn't really have a relationship with the neighbors, right? You never carried on a conversation with Rebecca before then, really, other than hi.
She had come over a couple times
Okay.
and just kind of talked. Can't tell you what we talked about because I don't remember.
Okay, but it wasn't about her being abused, right?
No.
Okay. So this one day, 2 weeks before all this happened, this one day, she came over to your house and told you that she was scared,
Yes.
right? That she was scared Sean was going to kill her.
Yes.
And you had heard a commotion 9 months before, right?
Yes.
Banging for hours and all this stuff happening over there, right?
Yes.
And she came over and she told you that she was scared he was going to kill her.
Yes.
And you just thought she was exaggerating.
At that point in time, yes.
Okay. Because that'd been your experience as their neighbor, right? You just thought she was probably exaggerating.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know that the beating and banging and her coming and telling me she was scared for her life was connected.
Well, you still don't, do you?
Well, no.
Okay. But you've seen some stuff on the news and you've talked to the prosecutor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Objection, Judge, can we approach?
Okay, so this is a good time to come in while they're doing that, right? So I was just about to do a poll in the chat. So let me look at some comments that I started here. Number one, Lou A say, damn, she said the slogan is see something, say something, not hear something, say something, right? Lady Steph said if she made it her business, perhaps that lady would still be alive. Hold on, pause. I'm in my commentary. Tiki said, can you imagine one day you're minding your business and the next you're sitting in court for several days testifying? Joy said she getting her 15 minutes of fame. I guess it's her business. It's her business now. And then Betty Boop finally says, I know a person who spoke up and became unalive. Sometimes it's not that simple. So, hey, Lady Sparkum, can you, we started off with Tiki saying, can you imagine being just a neighbor in your house? You ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Then all of a sudden you dead in the middle of a sex torture trial, right? You got to remember all this stuff. You know, the stuff being televised. They talking about your forehead. And all you was doing was minding your business, living in your house, right? And then you got the defense attorney. He come up and he making it seem like it's your fault the woman dead. That's a lot of pressure. Now let me ask y'all this. I'm not gonna say, you know, in your places of residence, do y'all call the cops every time? Like if you hear something, some scuffle or a kerfuffle going on, or a couple or your neighbors arguing, do you call the cops when you hear your neighbor maybe disciplining their child and whipping their ass? How far does it have to go? How loud does it have to get? Right? For us, and I'm gonna say you because I'm just posing it to you guys, right? Because I was thinking about this myself. If my neighbors to the left of me get into a all-out drag out over there next door, I'm not gonna call the cops. I'm not gonna call the cops. I have to hear somebody saying, call 911. Okay? If I hear somebody screaming, get the police, I'm calling the police. If I hear that type of shit, I'm going to take that as a whistle for somebody to help me get in my business. Or if I hear some bloody murder screaming, you know what I'm saying? Like some shit that scared me. You know what I'm saying? That's just really scared me. And, you know, I don't know. But other than that, like a lot of people saying, we are pretty much into the point of just minding our business. You know? Joy say he looking at her like she a snack, okay? But I see a lot of no's. Y'all not going to just call. And Lady Steph say, but didn't he say it went on for hours? Right. But I think that the defense attorney, he's saying that went on for hours being dramatic. Because she didn't say that. She said for a little bit. She said that downstairs the noise happened for a little bit. And then it moved upstairs and it sounded like sex. You know what I'm saying? And I think that now the defense attorney is trying to just like really drive on home his point, right? Snack says she mind her business. Betty Boop say if Rebecca was able to use neighbor's phone, she could have called the cops and waited for them to remove her. So I'm not going to put it on the neighbor. Right. Exactly. Sassy Francis, Tiki said the same. Sassy said, I'm not calling the police unless I hear help. Help me. Right? I have to hear something real, like specific. And I don't know. I have to be able, like in my gut, I have to follow my intuition. My intuition would tell me, oh, hell no, let me call the goddamn cops. But am I going to call the cops every time? Every time something happens, every time somebody fussing and fighting, every time they getting it? Nah, I'm not. No, but if I hear a scream for help and constant over time banging noises, right. My antennas are going to go up. And I'd rather be safe than sorry. Right. I get that. In that case, I would. Right. Excuse me. It depends. Betty Boo say, if I hear help, I will call. Other than that, I'm minding my business. Right. Chopper say, bump all that. She didn't give a damn. Oh, Lord. Right. It has to be real bad for me to call. Right. It depends. I'm not just going to take the my business position. Right. I think I would have to listen because, you know, I listen when people get in the fight. I'm nosy like that. So if I hear some shit going on next door or downstairs, baby, I got my ears to the goddamn wall. to know I be listening. Hey, but these 1953, welcome back. You're not late. I gave everybody a holiday pass. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue with it. I just thought that made for a good conversation right then. And y'all do remember the story of how the true crime story that happened in New York, which was the reason they created the 911 call, right? Drop a one in the chat if you know about the case that made for 911 to be. Man, I told that all of us in the rock. Hold on. Drop a one in the chat if you know about the true crime murder that happened that made for, which is why they created 911. Child, I fucked that all up again. Let's continue. Just let me know if you know what I'm talking about. You know the story. Hey, Bert.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Me too, Lady T.
So at the time when you heard these noises, the timeline that you say was around Christmas is really just based on the fact you remember that your tree was up,
Yes.
right? So you don't know what day you heard these noises.
No.
You don't know what time of day you heard these noises.
I know it was afternoonish.
Afternoonish, but so it could have been any time in the afternoon, right?
Early morning, between 11 and 1, like I said.
Between 11 and 1.
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't provide that detail before today.
No.
Okay. And then again, so when did you put your tree up?
After Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving. So that would have been late November,
Yes.
early December.
Yes.
And when did you take your tree down that year?
Either the first or second week of January.
Okay, so it could have been as far as mid-January,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere late November to mid-January, you heard these noises.
Yes.
Sometime of day, you think between 11 and 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. You never called the police.
No.
You had a baby there, right?
Yes.
Were you scared?
Child, he doing a
I
lot.
was annoyed.
Thank you, Judge.
Other questions, redirect?
Just briefly.
Sure.
We met before trial, right?
Yes.
And we talked about your testimony,
Yes.
and we provided you a copy of the written statement.
Yes.
And what did we ask you to tell when you came in here?
The truth.
You recross?
Just real quick, you said that she came over and made up a Facebook page, right? And then did she get a response?
I don't know.
Because you deleted it
This is
immediately.
recross, Judge. This is not subject to
Okay.
this.
I agree. All right, thanks, man. You can stay in the corner, free to go.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Who's next?
Cole Pico.
Baby, she say, God damn, let me get up out of here. No, I don't want to stay and wait to hear nobody else. I don't care. I want to go home. I need to get out of this apartment and give me a house freestanding. Thank you, lady, for your service. Oh, look at the flat booty. Y'all, this is Tennessee, y'all.
Everybody got a pen? We're missing one. We need one more.
Sidebar, y'all.
Sorry, my fault.
I just realized why I've been a little loop-de-loop the last 2 days. I never did cut my air conditioner back on from that first little cold snap we had. Well, I didn't cut the heater on, but I cut the air off, and that's why I've been up in here frying my brain. I just looked at the thermostat. It was on 81 degrees up in here. All right, let's continue. Now, this is either going to be, I think this is going to be the husband of Mahogany,
Right.
the ones who actually helped her try to get to the police.
Still raise your right hand.
I said she heard the bank.
Nothing but the true stuff you got.
Yes.
Thank you. If you have a seat there, if you'll speak up in that microphone, that'll help everybody hear. If you'll tell me your first name and last name and spell them both.
Colt Pico, COLTPEKOC.
Questions?
Mr. Pico, you resident of Anderson County, Tennessee?
Yes.
And how long have you lived here?
Wow, 8 years?
8 years? Where are you from? Where do you hail from?
Illinois.
Okay, Chicago, Illinois?
Right outside, yes.
Okay. And where did you live back in 2019?
Florida Avenue in Oak Ridge,
Is what particular address were you at?
302.
Okay. Who'd you live there with?
My wife and kids.
What's your wife's name?
Mahogany.
Hey, always
And
be
what
a
are your- How
cruiser.
many kids you have?
And you're right, Betty Boo.
How old are they?
15 and 6.
Okay. How long did you live at 302 Florida Avenue?
I don't even know for sure. That's a wife question.
Okay. Years, months?
Yeah,
days?
years.
Years?
Years.
Okay. And what kind of place was 302 Florida Avenue? Single-family residence, multi, what, tell us.
Yeah, it was
describe
a 2-story quadplex.
Quadplex, as in
Yeah.
4?
Yeah, it's got the 1 bedrooms on the ends and then 2 bedrooms in the middle, and it's 2-story in the middle.
And what did you occupy in the quadplex?
The 2-story in the middle, like if you were looking at it from the street, it'd be the right apartment.
Was your front door facing what road?
Florida Avenue.
Okay. And so, do you have the building behind you, is that owned by the same landlord?
No.
Okay. Different landlords?
Yeah.
But the same landlord for everybody in your fourplex?
Yes.
Okay.
That's different.
Mr. Pico, do you venture out and get to know your neighbors at all?
No.
Why is that?
I grew up in a neighborhood where you don't talk to your neighbors.
Okay.
You don't need to know them.
From Illinois?
Yes.
From Chicago, that's the way
Yes.
you know your neighbors? Okay. And so you pretty much stick to yourself? Is your wife the same personality?
No, my wife's a social butterfly.
Okay. And so in terms of connections or social interactions with neighbors, yours, how would you describe yours versus your wife's?
If I see them, I'll say hi and go on.
Okay.
She talks to them.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity at any point to get to know your neighbors in the building behind you?
Because of my wife, yes,
Okay. So how so?
partially. Like
What do you mean because of your wife?
well, I don't talk to them. I don't care to know people. And if she talks to them, I end up eventually having to.
Because she befriends them?
Yes.
All right. And moving on specifically to the building behind you, who did you know were occupants in the building behind you? That is, you're on Florida Avenue. We're talking about the fourplex immediately to your back door.
She knew everybody in that building.
Okay. Was that building similarly situated like yours?
Yeah.
It was like a fourplex?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think ours was a little more modern, like had been renovated through the years a little more,
Okay.
but essentially set up the same.
And specifically, did you have an opportunity to meet a woman named Rebecca Dishman?
Yes.
And what were the circumstances of you meeting Rebecca Dishman?
Her and my wife were friends.
Okay.
They talked and hung out.
And so, tell the members of the jury how much time and opportunity did you have to observe Rebecca Dishman over the course of time that you lived there and that she lived there?
I would see her here and there. On the weekends, she would come over and talk to the wife. That'd be like the only time that I would actually have interaction with her.
But she'd come in your house?
Yeah, she'd
All
come
right.
over.
And you would converse with her?
Yeah.
And you formed an opinion of her?
Yeah.
And what was your opinion of her?
She was simple.
Okay.
Kid-like.
Okay. How so?
She just didn't have your typical adult.
Now he thought she
I
was
don't-
simple.
She dressed kid-like. She would be excited about stuff my kids would be excited about.
Okay.
She was just very simple.
Okay. How about her reaction to other people that you were friends?
That's a nice way of
did you
saying
notice
dumb.
anything unusual about that?
She would cling to anybody that gave her attention. That was nice to her.
Do you actually judge that?
I'm sorry. What was your objection?
Relevance.
All over the room.
You were saying she would cling. Tell us what you mean by that.
I had a friend that was staying with me, and he would just be nice to her in passing, and she thought he was into her.
Objection to what she thought and said.
How did she behave around him?
She would get giddy.
Okay. And at this point, are you aware of Sean Finnegan? Do you know what his relationship is with her? at this point?
Yeah, that's her boyfriend.
And Sean Finnegan, is he here in the courtroom?
Yeah.
Point him out for the jury, if you would. Reflect he's pointing to the defendant.
So basically, Rebecca was flirting over there next door, over there to these people's house with their company. Rebecca was a little bit of a tramp, okay? Period. You know, we don't like Rebecca. How you got on that bed? How you got on that bed? Child, Rock then jumped up on the bed for the first time. I guess he was tired of me. Y'all heard Rock barking at me. He was barking at me to put him on the bed. I guess he didn't have time to wait for me. I ain't never seen him jump on the bed, but I'm sorry. That was a sidebar. Let's continue. My bad. I had an outburst.
Mr. Finnegan,
You did?
you said that he was her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And but you also saw her getting giddy with other
Objection to
people.
leading, Judge, she's testifying.
I'll sustain.
You also observed her behavior.
Yes.
And your characterization of her as simple, why is it that you characterize her in that way?
She
Objection asked and answered.
All over the room.
she seemed like she needed a lot of help in taking care of herself,
Okay.
as in simple. Like,
All right. And in terms of her relationship with Sean Finnegan, what did you have? Did you make an opinion at any point about who was the leader in that relationship?
Objection, he just said that he didn't have a whole lot of contact with them.
I'm asking about his knowledge of the relationship.
All over the room.
I would say Sean was in charge. Like,
And do you know specific examples of why you feel that way?
because I've seen firsthand him tell her, "Let's go," and that he doesn't want her there.
Okay. Were there times where she was forbidden from coming to your place?
Yes.
Objection.
By who?
Objection, how does he know that?
I'll sustain.
Well, who were you told by?
Objection, hearsay.
If it came from
Child.
the defendant, then he can say.
Then ask that question, and the defendant ever told me.
Defendant ever tell you, or were you ever present when the defendant told her she ain't coming around tomorrow?
Yes.
Would she behave? Would she behave and honor that when he'd say?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Exactly, Sassy.
Let the defense see it. Did y'all see this? Okay.
I'm going to close the poll down when Mahogany come in.
Mr. Pico, I'm handing you exhibit number 11. And just to tell the members of the jury what exhibit number 11 is.
Looks like a map of Oak Ridge.
And the red dot is,
Looks like where I would live.
and number 12,
Oh yeah, it's the house behind mine.
okay. And if you could sign that Colt Pico
Where would you like me to?
anywhere on the document. And exhibit 11 and 12 are maps of the location of where we're talking about.
Yeah.
Your address at 302 Florida. The red marker, however, is on which apartment?
The one directly behind me.
The one Mr. Finnegan lived in?
Yes.
Okay, and if you could just point an arrow to that and put SF to the red dot so the jury knows where we're talking about in town. And you've signed it, Colt?
Yes.
You have, and date it today, August. Okay, and initial exhibit 11 is the location in town. And now handing you exhibit 13, which has formally been introduced in exhibit 10. And this will now be 13. You recognize that?
Yeah, this is my house, my car. That'd be Sean's house.
And it's definitely not a high-tech court.
While he's explaining and signing.
A very old school.
Previously exhibit number 10. Okay, and what we're going to have you do, Mr. Pico, is first off, initial it with your initials. And I'm going to have you sign with the red pen. Once you circle where you and Mahogany, your two children, lived. Okay, and then I'm going to have you point to it up all the way to project back.
Damn, he act like he got
Exhibit.
indigestion.
If you could stand down and tell us where you lived.
Lived here.
Now what the hell wrong with him? Why is he having a hard time standing up, and why is he acting like he in pain? What's going on with him? Child, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on.
In this little apartment,
And where did the defendant live?
directly behind us, his back door and our back door lined up.
Okay, and did you know Kelsey Norwood?
I knew her by name and just seeing her.
Okay. Where did she live?
She lived here on this end part.
Okay. And you had a little trouble getting down from the stand there,
Yeah.
Mr. Pico. Tell us, at the time, back in 2019, 2020, were you working?
I was on short-term disability and leave from work at the moment.
You got some back issues?
Yes.
And we would move that, his,
Oh,
in
okay.
as 13.
I thought it was already 10.
I'm sorry, Judge, I've marked another one for 13 that's identical as 10, but he's made notations
Okay.
on
All right.
13 here, so.
Okay, 13 it is.
Go ahead and mark it CP, the red circle with it, inside the circle put CP and MP for Colton Mahoney.
I swear, every time they say CP, I be thinking they talking about colored people, like CP time. Every time he said that to the last witness, mark it CP, and I said colored people. And I say, okay, not time, okay.
And then go ahead and circle what you just told the jury where he lived, Mr. Finnegan, with a blue pen, and put SF. So now, Judge, that new exhibit would be Exhibit 13, a replica of Exhibit 10, but Mr. Pico's recollection.
We'll take 13 and pass it to the jury, please.
So, Mr. Pico, it appears on Exhibit number 13 that you share a driveway in between the two units, is that?
That was not our driveway. That is their driveway.
And where would you park?
My car is the black car out in front of my unit there. We parked on Florida.
I'm going to turn your attention to August 5th of 2020. Obviously, you were living there, same arrangements we've talked about in exhibit number 13.
Yeah.
And you, Mr. Finnegan and Ms. Dishman were living behind you.
Yes.
You've already told the jury that your wife had befriended or had a friendship with.
You just can't, well, you can't suggest an answer. Just ask him a question.
Yes, Your Honor.
I know you're trying to speed things up, and I appreciate that. So I'm not being critical of that, but just try to ask him questions, not leading.
You already told the jury that you don't like to get in other people's business, but that something happened August 5th of 2020 that you felt you were getting in other people's business. If you can turn your attention to that, okay?
Yeah.
All right. What is it that had been happening in the complex, so to speak, that caused you to be involved in something on August 5th of 2020?
My wife had been trying to help Rebecca get out of the home because my understanding of it was
All sustained.
How did you personally become involved in what your wife was fixing to do?
she wanted me to call a shelter.
What,
Well, what, that's not,
this is more the effect on the listener.
that's right. That's not for the truth of the matter asserted. It's going to what he did in response to that, so I'll allow that question. Go ahead.
What does your wife ask you to do or participate in?
To find a woman's shelter that she could take Rebecca to.
Okay. And how long had that been going on? That process?
A few months. I called and set something up that day.
Okay. Where?
A shelter in La Follette, I believe,
Why La Follette?
because that was the only one that was open and intaking. I guess that's what you call it.
How did you find this place?
Google.
And who did you speak to?
I cannot remember the woman's name.
What were the circumstances of how you were going to arrange what was going to happen?
She told me that she needed to talk.
I'll overrule what he did in reaction to what her comment was, so not for the truth of the matter asserted. Go ahead.
What were the circumstances of what was going to happen? How was this going to be arranged?
She was going to talk to Rebecca and meet them at a police station with some of Rebecca's belongings.
And that was your personal conversation?
That was my conversation, and then she said that she needed to speak to the victim to make sure that that's what she wanted and that we weren't forcing her to go.
And what did you do to accommodate that?
Told my wife what was needed, and then she took a phone to Rebecca after Sean had left for work.
Why did you take a phone? Why was a phone taken to Rebecca?
Because she was not allowed to have a phone.
And when you said that you did this after Sean went to work, what was Sean's work schedule, if you know?
I know he worked evenings at a pint house.
Okay. And what was the plan? You said what time you were going to, this was all going to happen?
There was no time set to my knowledge when I talked to the lady.
Okay.
That was to be determined after she verified that Rebecca wanted to go.
Okay. And what did you do next in terms of the plan to make this happen?
Handed the phone off to the wife and set up that my buddy would let them use his car.
Okay. This complaint that caused you to react this way and to do this thing, had you made any observations in the past that caused you to do this?
I don't want to know. I don't know how long exactly before this, but Rebecca had had a black eye and broken glasses from them fighting.
Okay. And you saw that with your
Yes.
eyes? And as far as the plan for actually getting her to this place, what was that plan?
After Sean was leave for work, she was going to pack all her stuff up that she could take and load it into my buddy Mike's truck or SUV thing, and the wife was going to drive her off to meet this woman at the police station in La Follette.
And did that in fact happen?
That is what happened.
Okay. You mentioned that Rebecca Dishman and the defendant lived in the apartment. You've already told the jury it's directly opposite yours.
Yes.
Out your back door or out your
Yeah.
front door?
Like if you walk out my back door, his back door was like this.
Okay, so they're exactly opposite. They're facing opposite directions.
Yes.
Who else lived in that apartment?
What apartment?
In Mr. Finnegan's apartment.
His mother
Okay.
lived with him.
And did you have opportunity to observe her?
Yeah.
How old was she?
I'm not for sure how old she was. She was an elderly woman.
Was she around when all these things were happening?
Yes,
And how did you know that?
because she was screaming out the window saying she was calling Sean.
Okay. Screaming out the window when what was happening?
When Rebecca was loading her stuff into the back of Mike's car.
Okay. Why would she be saying that?
No idea.
I'll sustain.
But nonetheless, she was screaming.
Yeah, she did yell out that she was gonna notify Sean.
I'll overrule.
Well, what happened after she yelled something out?
Shortly after that, Sean come pulling in the driveway like a madman.
Okay. And you had previously testified you had waited until he went to work.
Yes.
Okay. And so he pulled in like a madman, and where were you when he pulled in?
My apartment.
Inside?
Yes.
Were your kids there with you?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the defendant do?
He knocked on my back door and asked me where she took her and told me that I ruined his life and that I had no right to get involved.
Okay. What else did he tell you he's going to?
We had some words and
Go tell the jury, what words did you have?
basically I told him he could go back to his apartment. I don't know where she took him or took her, and he told me that he would kill me.
Did you also, at any point prior to this, did you have any further communicate?
Can I borrow your mic?
Okay, while they doing their sidebar, it's a lot going on right here. So y'all making some great observations. Tiki says, but I wouldn't expect anything else from the Lit Lane jury box. If you're new to this content, Trial Watch with Demetra, and you up top watching from the clouds, drop down and participate. All perspectives and opinions are welcome. This might be one of the safest chats Lit Lane has. Tiki said, I appreciate his effort trying to help who he thought was a battered woman. Very true. And you also said none of the neighbors called the police when they heard scuffling, but they all tried to help Rebecca, at least in different ways. And we all know Miss Francis is Mama Bates.
Gentleman's been testifying. If you listen carefully, which I know you did, he's referred to some statements made by another person other than the defendant. Those statements are hearsay. Remember, I defined for you what hearsay was, and they're not to be considered by you for the truth of the statement. But rather only its effect on him and on the witness in his response to those statements. Does that make sense? So what he heard is hearsay. That doesn't mean it's true. It means he heard this and this is how he says he responded. Got it? Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, sir.
You just said that he said he was going to kill you. Did he make any specific ways or threats that he was going to accomplish that?
No, sir.
Okay. With regard to your communication, you had told the jury that you had spoken to the people on the phone and Rebecca put her on the phone. Did you have any further communication with those folks that you had set up after your wife and Rebecca leave? Okay, and do you have any communication with your wife?
I had talked to her, I believe it was after they had made it to La Follette and they were waiting for the lady.
Okay, so chronologically, tell the jury Did he arrive before or after you spoke to your wife that they'd made it to La Follette?
He had arrived before.
Okay.
I had talked to my wife.
Okay, so he arrives, those words are exchanged, and then you speak to your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And with regard to that conversation with your wife, what do you do next?
I had talked to my wife. She had told me some disturbing things.
Also staying, don't tell me what your wife told you. Okay, next question.
Yes, Judge, we would assert the same basis that it's the reason that he is going to make the call that the jury's already heard. What he was told by his wife would be non-hearsay.
I'll still sustain the objection.
Okay. Based on a conversation you had with your wife on the phone in La
Yes.
Follette,
I called the
Did you
Oak Ridge
use-
Police Department, and when they showed up, he had made it a point to come from his apartment to the front of my apartment.
okay. What did you tell you called the 911
Yes.
center? Okay. And you reported something to them,
Yes.
and they sent a unit.
Yes.
And where were you while you waited on that unit to come?
In my apartment,
And where was he?
standing on his back porch.
Okay, and how do you know that?
Because my back French doors look straight to his apartment.
All right. And did the police arrive at some point?
Yes.
And where did they park when they arrived?
In front of my apartment.
All right. And so where was the defendant when they parked in front of your apartment?
When they arrived, he come from the back of his apartment, around my building to the front.
Okay, so we're looking at Exhibit 13, I believe it is. The police arrived and parked on Florida?
Yeah, they parked behind the black car on Florida.
Okay. And where is it that the defendant, if you could just point to us on that exhibit, where was it that the defendant, you said he went around?
Yeah,
What were your words?
He come around the end of the apartment.
If I could have him stand down and just show the jury where.
He come around from his drivers to
do you wanna-
East Fairview. He come from his back porch here, down and through here,
Okay.
around.
And why did he come down and around?
No idea.
Okay. Where did you go?
I went to my front porch and talked to the police.
Show the members of the jury your front porch on that exhibit.
This is my front porch.
Okay. And where is he standing when the police
This
arrived?
lawyer don't care nothing
When
about
he-
this man and his
when they
bad
arrived,
back.
He was back here.
You could've gave him a pointer.
I'm assuming he seen him pull up. And he come around
Assuming and
to here.
I'll sustain.
Simultaneous to the police arriving, where does the defendant go?
To here,
Okay. In front of your residence?
yeah.
Towards you?
Towards me and the police.
Okay. And do you convey what happened?
What's that?
What do you say to the police?
I let him know about him knocking on my back door and confronting me about my wife taking him, and then his statement that he was going to kill me.
Okay. And was he within earshot of you when you were talking to the police? Was he
For-
within, you just described a distance that he converged there,
For
right?
the first part of me talking to the police, yes, he was within earshot.
Okay. And did you hear them speak to him?
No, they took him off. One officer left with him around to the side, and one officer stayed with me when I told him the rest of what I had to say.
Okay. Went around the side back towards his apartment?
Yes.
Okay. So you never heard what he said to the
No.
police when he was confronted by your call for
Yes,
service? Okay. And of course, were you present later that evening when the police arrived again?
Yes.
How did this particular situation end? You said you told the jury that the police went around and you were out front on your front porch. How did that particular thing end?
It ended with them saying that they're going to monitor the situation.
I'll sustain the objection.
When the police left.
Yes.
But did they really leave?
So, okay, so this is very interesting, right? So at this point, I was finna say, okay, so at this point, Rebecca then took off in the car with her clothes and stuff with the wife Mahogany. The mama, Miss Francis, didn't peep that action, called Sean. Sean came home, and the witness, was at home. Because Sean made them threats to him, that's why he called the police. But, at this time, Mahogany got Rebecca in the car, and nobody knows yet about the body in the freezer. Okay. Want to make sure. Girl, we got cop cars outside. I see flashing lights right here. Let's see.
No.
Okay. What did you observe in your neighborhood going on from that point on with regard to police activity?
Several different units parking in different locations, watching to see which roads left from the area.
Okay. And were you watching too?
Yeah.
Were you watching the defendant?
Yeah.
And what was he doing during this time?
He was tearing stuff out of his house that my wife had given Rebecca and tearing it up, throwing it in the trash, and standing there staring at my apartment.
Okay. And how long did this go on before the police that you're, when you said there were police in different places, were they in undercover capacity?
Yes, they were in unmarked cars.
And
No problem, Lou. I got a little lost.
how long
in
did
the
that go
moment for a
on
moment
before
too.
the police made their presence known?
Several hours. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, I believe, when they went into his apartment.
Okay. So you were present?
Yeah.
And you watched things happen from your own apartment?
Yes.
What did you see him remove from the apartment?
They brought what looked like a body down in a black bag.
What looks like things, and there's going to have police officers testify.
I'll sustain.
They collected evidence, they took things out of
Yes.
the apartment. Pass me this, Judge.
Thanks, sir. Cross-examination.
Judge, how long did you live as neighbors with Rebecca and Sean?
I don't exactly
See,
know
Mahogany
how
gonna be the
long
one with
that-
the good info.
I know that we had lived there before Sean had moved in, and I can't tell you exactly how long they had been going together because I didn't care.
Right, you didn't pay any attention back then.
I didn't.
It wasn't your concern.
No.
Yeah, so how long did Sean live there before Rebecca moved in? A little while.
A little while.
Yeah. A year maybe,
Not sure.
but a while.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said Mahogany was Rebecca's friend, but if Rebecca said that Mahogany was Sean's friend,
She had talked to Sean too.
okay,
She talks to all our neighbors.
okay. But Rebecca said she wasn't Mahogany's friend, that Mahogany was Sean's friend. Would that be a true statement, you think?
No.
I would object to that, that's.
I'll overrule. Go ahead.
You said something about her getting giddy. Was somebody coming around, or was it like a?
No, when she would come over to my apartment and my friend would be there, she would get a little more giggly than she would, and she would do obvious signs of like flipping her hair.
Like flirtation type stuff.
I wouldn't call it flirtatious.
Were they male friends? Were your friends male?
Yeah, I'm married.
Okay, okay. I mean, you can have friends that are girls if you're married, but if you, they were male friends. She was flipping her hair and flirting, acting
I
giddy.
wouldn't call it flirting.
She acted giddy and different
Yeah,
when they were there.
she would.
Let me tell you something. This type of husband I need, okay? Because even the thought of having a female friend is unheard of, okay? He can't even fathom how is it possible he married and got a god doggone girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Even after that man, even after the lawyer say, well, you could have female friends, he look like, boy, boo. Miss Steph 219 say, okay, yeah. Mahogany definitely black. I see it now.
Laugh more and talk.
You talked about her coming over with black eyes and a broken glasses, and that was from a fight. That's what she told you, right?
Yes.
You didn't see the fight.
No.
That's what she told you.
Yep.
Okay. Said she needed a lot of help taking care of herself. Like she just seemed kind of helpless, right? She needed people to do things for her.
Yep.
And she didn't mind asking people to do things for her. And people just kind of wanted to do things for her.
Yes.
Right. And so, while y'all lived there, you guys had like Thanksgiving dinner together at some point too, didn't you?
Yes, my wife is very nice.
Yeah. Did they come over to your place?
Sean come over and made a plate for him and his mother.
Okay.
Yes.
That's nice. And you guys used to hang out a little bit, right? I mean, y'all used to smoke pot together and stuff on occasion?
Not you all. I don't smoke pot.
You don't smoke pot?
No, sir.
Okay. So if there's text that suggests that?
There's no text that suggests I smoke pot.
Okay. Your wife did then, right?
Yes, my wife smokes pot.
Maybe that's what I'm confused. I might be confusing those texts, so I
believe
apologize.
so.
I didn't
I
mean to
moved
accuse
down here from Chicago to get straight with my life.
I got you. I didn't mean to accuse you. I apologize. I confused that. So talking about those apartments, we just had the, can we have that back up on the screen? May I approach, Joe?
Sure.
So we're going to look at it, oh, sorry, for the record, Exhibit 13 again. And you said that the way these are built, or the way these are designed, these are two-story, right?
Yes.
And these side ones are one-story.
Yes.
So there's no upstairs on these two ends, right?
No.
And I think that the DA asked you if you knew Kelsey Coons. Did he? Do you know who Kelsey Coons is? As a neighbor, where she lived?
Coons?
I think that's her name.
Norwood.
Norwood. Kelsey Norwood.
Yeah.
Where
I
you-
don't know her
You
personally.
knew where she lived?
Yes.
And she lived here?
Yes.
Okay, and that's a one-story.
Yes.
So there would not be a bedroom wall that she shared with the upstairs bedroom
No.
of Sean, right?
No.
Because her bedroom would be on this side over here, wouldn't it?
I believe so. I don't know what the end apartments look like.
Right, but the point is, she didn't have an upstairs.
No.
Right. And you lived there with your wife and your two kids. How old were your kids at the time?
Sadie was little.
They had to both be pretty young. I
Yeah.
guess.
Javi was in elementary school still. And Sadie was 2.
Okay, yeah, very young.
Yeah.
So did you know that Rebecca was a CNA?
Nope.
Never talked about that? Okay.
That would shock me.
She was, and she,
That's crazy.
yeah. So, did you know that she took care of elderly people?
Nope.
Okay. You know anything about her before she moved in with Sean?
Nope.
Okay. Sean had an elderly mother that lived there.
Yeah.
They've described it as she was basically hospice care, kind of elderly.
Yes.
Right? So it would make sense that while Sean was at work, maybe he wanted some help taking care of his elderly mother.
I don't know.
Don't know. But if his mother was at home on hospice care,
Before
Speculation.
Rebecca came, she would come out and
Objection
walk
to
the dog.
speculation.
okay. Whatever he came over, what he said to you when he
Wait a
came
minute.
home.
Before Rebecca moved there, the mama was mobile enough to come outside and walk the dog. Okay? Yeah, he say that shocked him because guess what? Rebecca done got him fooled to think that she's Simple Simon. Miss Steph 219, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm looking at the time, I'm looking at how long I've been on this live, and I'm like, oh my God, this lady jury box is gonna kill me if I say I'm gonna stop after this, so we'll be back tomorrow. To see mahogany testimony. I'm sitting here contemplating how I'm gonna let them know that we're gonna tune in tomorrow for mahogany. Let's continue.
She was yelling out and said, Rebecca's leaving, right? Or I'm calling Sean?
Yeah.
Okay. And then he came home.
Yeah.
And when he addressed you, he basically said, you ruined my life.
Yeah.
Okay. And because the girl that had been living with him and was there with his mother had just packed up and left, correct?
She did.
She did. Can I have just a second, Judge?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have, Judge.
Can you redirect the
Can I approach?
Sure.
Okay, y'all. So we will be able.
I'm showing you Colt has been
No,
marked
no.
for
When
identification.
he
as
finished,
Exhibit
I'm gonna let
14.
y'all
It's
see
labeled
mahogany,
on the
and then
model
y'all
on
gonna come back
Google.
tomorrow to hear mahogany. I keep wanting to say mahogany.
Google exhibit number 14.
Mahogany testimony.
And I want you to look at that exhibit and then orient yourself. What is that Google image of?
This is the backside of Sean's apartment.
Okay. And this is a Google Street View, so to speak, of
Yeah.
the apartment.
Yeah.
And we would move this in, Judge's Exhibit 14, and let him explain the layout.
Okay, 14 it is.
If you want to stand down again, can you?
Get my steps in today.
Oh my God, they just abusing this poor man back.
Defense asked you if
His love handles.
there were any shared walls between the end units in your apartments. This is we're looking at 14. You said is Mr. Finnegan's apartment.
Yeah. This
Point
is,
for where his
that's
apartment
his
is.
back door.
Okay, and where's Kelsey Norwood's apartment?
This is her back door.
Okay, and do you see the roof line of her apartment where it extends to?
Yeah.
And where does it extend to?
This right here would be the back bedroom.
Okay, and where would the master bedroom be?
It'd be in the front.
Objection, I'm not sure if he's been in her apartment.
Or the
All
floor?
over the roof, because you're asking about it. So I'll let Justin- Go ahead.
And so the roof line of Kelsey's apartment should be shared with what? What rooms in Mr. Finnegan's apartment?
It would be the big room in the front and then the back room here.
Okay, so both of the bedrooms?
Yes.
See, Lady Steph, this is the epitome of give you an inch, y'all try to take a mile. I already gave a free pass for all of Thanksgiving week. Okay? I gave that without having to negotiate. Okay? So, no, I'm not going to negotiate. I do not negotiate with terrorists. I'm not going to negotiate not saying you're late till Christmas. Y'all gonna have to let me make it on something else, and we're gonna have to negotiate that. Okay. Overruled.
That's all that.
All right?
Yes, you stay there. I want you to.
Oh, I appreciate that.
No problem, buddy. So.
Betty Boop, do not encourage
this
Lady
is the
Steph, okay?
fireplace,
Yep.
And the fireplace splits the living rooms, right? There's a living room on
Yes.
this side of the fireplace, there's a living room on that side of the fireplace. Her bedroom would have been over here probably. Sean's bedroom would have been up here on this side,
It would be this side over here.
this side
On the
over
front of the
here,
house.
okay? On the front of the house.
Yes.
And so the living room splits here and it's way over there, isn't it?
No, this is right here between these two windows
Uh-huh.
is the center wall for the.
This judge be very interested, okay?
For the living
I
room.
can appreciate that.
For the rooms upstairs.
For the rooms, because this wall right here would divide the little room and the big room.
Okay, but downstairs, there's no wall right there, right? That the living room is open where the fireplace is?
Yeah. There's the wall that connects these two apartments
Right.
and the fireplace.
Okay. Living room, bedroom, space, right?
This is kitchen here. It'd be living room in the front of the house.
Living room, kitchen, bedroom.
No, it'd be living room. It's living room,
Okay.
kitchen.
Okay. All right. Got you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Any redirect? Okay, sir, you step down. Free to stand in the court. We're free to go.
What's that?
You can stay here, you can go.
Good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's 10:20, so what we'll do is we'll take our morning break. It'll be for about 20 minutes. We'll start back at 10:40.
The judge pays very close attention. So we're gonna fast forward it. Hold on. And we're gonna go and see. Let me see what the poll say. The poll says this is a close poll for the Little Lane jury box. Normally it'd be almost unanimous, but it say, I took Tiki question. I copied and pasted. What's the chances that this man, Cole, got the jungle fever? Because we know Mahogany is his wife who gonna testify next. So let's fast forward it. Cause I didn't catch it in time when I was recording it to okay.
And I'll just let you ask whatever you want to.
Hold on, just some lawyering.
Baseball bat. They took her upstairs. They chained her to a bed. She took part in that. That he strangled her out within a few days. Choked her with a shoestring. All
What?
of those factors that they're suggesting that this witness is lying about, because they said in opening statement she has completely reversed their roles.
Judge, you just said it. I said it in opening statement. I didn't call her a liar a single time yesterday. I pointed out some inconsistencies in her statements, but I didn't call her a liar a single time. What they're trying to do is have her testify multiple times.
Well, let me hear from what this lady's going to say. And then we'll go from there.
Your Honor, also just on the record, here's the best evidence, Judge. I mean, she's testified about all this stuff.
And I'll just let you ask whatever you want to ask, and then we'll.
Well, I'll just go right straight to what she was told when the disclosure about Mr. Finnegan's involvement.
Okay.
They working this judge nerves, okay? Then when they say why I'm trying to rush off, girl, it feels like I've been in this chair for a couple of hours. I think because I only had an hour between the last live. That's why I like to do them one in the afternoon, earlier, and one at night.
If you'll step up here next to me, please.
And I think we still got like 2
Come on up
hours
here.
for Mahogany testimony. It's not quick at all. Uh-oh.
If you're
Here
ready,
go Mahogany.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. If you'll have a seat right there, if you'll tell me both your first name and last name, it's important you speak up, because we all need to hear what your testimony is. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, tell me your first name and last name and spell them both.
Mahogany Pico, MAHOGANY,
So questions you want to ask in regard to, I guess, prior consistent statements by Ms. Dishman?
Yes, what Ms. Dishman told her on August 5th of 2024.
79%
Ms. Pico,
of the
you transported
Little
Ms.
Lane
Dishman
jury
to
box got it right.
shelter.
She
The
is
intent
black.
was to transferred her to a shelter in Claiborne County on August 5th, 2020.
We'll say 30 more minutes.
Tell the member, or tell the judge what it is that she disclosed along the way with regard to her involvement with Sean Finnegan and a body at her residence back on
We can
Fairview
go 30 more
Avenue in
minutes.
Oak Ridge.
On the way, when I was taking her to go get order protection on the way to the safe house, it got quiet in the car, and she's like, "Mom, I need to tell you something." I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Sean killed a girl." And I was like, "Okay, Becca, I didn't think it was true because it's Becca." And she looked at me and she started tearing. She goes, "I swear on my parents' grave.
That's what?
I swear on my parents' grave." And she started tearing up. And then
Okay, no. We're gonna stop it after this because what's happening right now, she's not testifying. This is the jury is out of the court right now, and they trying to stipulate what he can and cannot ask her. Okay, so that's what's happening. So we'll let this go and then we'll end it for the night.
I was like, okay, she's got to be telling the truth because she cared about her parents a lot. And we get to the gas station because I needed to get gas. And I stopped, I get out, pump gas, and I've got stuff going through my mind, like of what she just said. So I get back in the car and I'm like, "Becca, are you serious?" She's like, "Yes." And we're heading to the police station still. And
Not send help
she
back.
starts telling me things that had happened during the time that she was with Sean and stuff.
What'd you tell you?
Okay. Well, she said that he killed Jennifer, and at the time she didn't tell me her name, but I just know her name, and that she'd used shoestrings, a pair of shoestrings to choke her.
Okay. What else did you say?
That she'd gotten out of the shower one day and that he was masturbating to her corpse and that he had cut her several parts of her body.
Take your time. Okay.
And that her body was in a freezer in their closet.
And what else did she tell you?
She also told me that that Sean tried to steal, was going to kidnap one of his friend's daughters, teenage daughter. They was getting ready to leave a buddy
What?
at his house, and he wanted Becca to get in the back seat. So when his daughter came out by the car, that Sean could throw her in the back of the car and Becca could hold her down to help kidnap her. But one of the men that was there at the house that they was visiting come out and it didn't go through.
And what else did she tell you?
She said that Sean made her have oral sex with kids that they was babysitting,
What?
both of them, and that they was just babies.
Wait a minute. Wait. And that they was what? What was the? I was still in shock. What was? Wait. And what? She? Let me rewind it. I missed that last part. I was in shock. Hold on. Trigger warning. Oh, babies. Oh, wow.
And that her body was in a freezer in their closet.
I might have rewinded it too far. My bad.
And what else did she tell you?
She also told me that
Wow.
Sean tried to steal, was going to kidnap one of his friend's daughters,
Wow.
teenage daughter.
Wow.
They was getting ready to leave a buddy of his house, and he wanted Becca to get in the back seat. So when his daughter came out by the car, that Sean could throw her in the back of the car and Becca could hold her down to help kidnap her. But one of the men that was there at the house that they was visiting come out, and it didn't go through.
What else did she tell you?
She said that Sean made her have oral sex with kids that they was babysitting, both of them, and that they was just babies.
Wow, that's a lot.
And did she tell you anything else about what he did to her?
To Rebecca?
Yes.
Yes, that he would chain her up to a bed and brutally I'm sorry, I had to say
That's okay.
force adult toys in her body. And when he would be mad at her, he said that sometimes he would try to shove parts of Jennifer's body in her mouth.
Anything else that you remember?
No.
Lord have mercy, that's enough.
Anything else you wanted to testify to?
We're going to talk about a bunch of other stuff about the actual transport to Claiborne County with their testimony, but that's the only testimony that we're talking about for the purpose of being a prior consistent statement of Rebecca Dishman. In addition to what we talked about earlier, the 404A, what we believe is just rebuttal motive evidence that she should be allowed to testify to about the motive of Sean Finnegan because he had a sexual desire to kidnap somebody and had articulated that in the past.
Okay, so what you're asking me to do is to let her testify about some kidnapping plan, and then all this other stuff that she told her driving down to the shelter, right?
I'm sorry,
You want her to testify about? I guess I don't understand what the fabrication is.
the fabrication is that they're alleging that Rebecca Dishman has falsified and switched their roles only because she's getting out of the death penalty.
That's defense, Judge. I mean, that's my argument.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Anything else?
No,
Okay. You want to be heard on this? Why it shouldn't come? Why I shouldn't let it in?
Yes.
Stand up and tell me, please.
She's already testified to it. I didn't hear anything that she didn't already testify to. I'm allowed to cross-examine her and challenge her credibility. That's what cross-examination is. If I'm not allowed to present a defense or cross-examine people or something's bad for the state, it doesn't mean they have a rule to get stuff in and get to double down. Her repeating they're just trying to, the police they're going to try to get it into the police too. So, I mean, the whole point is just to keep repeating her story. It's not needed. It's repetitive, and it's hearsay, and it doesn't meet the legal requirement. And I never called her a liar or any other thing. Pointing out inconsistency in statements is a part of cross-examination. I just don't think it reaches any. And she was here yesterday. And if they want to clear it up, they can put her back on the stand. There's no reason for her to have to testify.
and I'll do that if that's the case.
That's right. And the kid stuff is 404B stuff. The prior kidnapping, that's
Your Honor, the state would concede that we were not going to try to put in the evidence about the kids. That has already been litigated, and that was not going to
Right.
be listed.
Okay. I'll come back in about 10 minutes. All right.
Let me tell y'all something. Baby, on this trial right here, we didn't see some good, hard, and heavy litigation going on. Quite honestly, we didn't see some hard litigation going on between the prosecution and the defense. Hold on, let me see. Let's see what the judge ruled about her testimony, whether he gonna let it in or not. Let me see.
Recollection of Miss Dishman. It says a witness.
Let's see what he say. Hey, Sharice girl. You're not late. Everybody on the free holiday pass. No tardies. No marked absences or late.
It says a witness's prior consistent statement.
Dang, it's hard to rewind on this
Ms. Dishman.
thing. Okay, let's just go from right here.
Please. The state has asked for permission to introduce prior consistent statements of Ms. Dishman, and they want to do that through the next witness. The law in Tennessee, I think, is pretty clear. State v. Heron, 461 Southwest 3rd, 890. It says a witness's prior consistent statements generally are not admissible to bolster the testimony of a witness. Said, however, a defendant attacks a witness's credibility, the state may rehabilitate the witness by offering evidence of prior consistent statements. As such, the admission of prior consistent statements is authorized under two circumstances: one, where the statement is offered to rebut the implication that the witness's testimony is a recent fabrication, and two, when the deliberate falsehood has been implied. I'm going to find, first of all, that there, based upon my recollection of Ms. Dishman, there was not a recent fabrication. If she said she didn't remember something, she said she didn't. She said she'd never mentioned the torch before, never mentioned the box cars before, was honest, I think, that she did not disclose those actions to the police. And I don't think there was that the defense in regard that there was a deliberate falsehood, that saying that a deliberate falsehood's been implied. So I'm going to deny the introduction of that evidence, but we do have it on the record, so an appellate court can certainly look at that and see if I erred in that ruling. So,
Judge, with regard to our 404A request,
okay. So you're bringing us the same stuff under 404A now?
no, just the kidnapping. In fact, that he.
I'm not going to bring up the kidnapping.
Child, he closed that book so fast.
I've already ruled on that before.
Under 404B.
See, y'all playing with me
For the
tonight.
404A, I'm not allowing it either. I think it's
Sharice, don't listen to your co-jurors, okay, right now? It's late and they hallucinate.
Cannot allow that to be introduced. Okay. So we're ready to get this behind you.
And this is exactly why we don't go over 2 hours. Okay? If and when we go over 2 hours, the lit lane jury box tends to lose their mind. Okay? So just like the real court jurors, they be needing breaks. The lit lane jury box, we already know 2 hours is almost the max, right? So you guys, as I said, you know that tonight was gonna be the trial. It's just this. I think this is it's a horrific situation, but it makes for a great trial. We have been like notorious testimonies. We have been some great lawyering being done. We got a great judge who tuned in, very expressive, right? So I'm enjoying doing this trial watch with you guys. It's gonna make from the last trial till like after this trial, in the last one, it seems like it's gonna be real. I'm gonna have to put a vote up to you guys. Y'all be thinking, because I found the trial that's real interesting, because it has to do with but it has a child involved, right? But it was an accidental shooting. Okay? It's an accidental shooting death of a mother with a child. And so I find it real interesting because of the dynamics of it. It's in a smaller court setting. And that's one, but I kind of had told you guys I would try to space out the child death ones, but I find that real intriguing, and I hadn't seen it, and it wasn't really widespread, so I think it's going to be unfamiliar to a lot of you guys too. And then it was the one of the trials. I thought it was streamed, but it actually wasn't. I know that after we finish this trial, we're gonna do a few sentencings. So I got that lady that Emma told me to look up yesterday, Tiffany Moss. Her trial wasn't streamed. However, I'm going to do the story about the recap of what happened, And then we're going to watch the sentencing. We got the Susan Smith sentencing coming up. So that's what we're going to do until up to like the end of the year. And then we're going to vote on and do the next trial and move over to Trial Watch with Demetra on that channel, okay? So you guys, I hope y'all had a great night tomorrow. Tomorrow, all we're going to be doing tomorrow night is the Mahogany Pico testimony. It's exactly almost 2 hours. So it's going to be for the whole live, okay? All right, you guys. Thank y'all for joining and tuning in. I shall see y'all on tomorrow night for certain. I got a lot of different stuff I really want to do with my channels that I need to take care of, editing and stuff. So y'all may not see me like at all tomorrow day, so I can actually get some stuff done, okay? All right. Good night, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through.